Night 2 of the WWE draft is over, and it was just as boring, just as underwhelming, and just as crap as Night 1. Welcome back, guys, to Fog Wrestling, here to discuss the Night 2 draft, but more importantly, well, I use that term loosely, there's not a lot important about this, but rather than discuss the draft picks that happened on Raw, we're going to discuss the draft picks that happened after Raw on Raw Talk. But before we get into this, there's one thing I want to mention, and that is that Brock Lesnar did not get drafted on Raw. Triple H said that before Raw went on the air, Brock Lesnar negotiated his contract so he could keep his free agent status. And you're like, okay, they've jobbed out. You know, they didn't want to commit to putting Brock to Raw, which they should have done, to be fair, because on Night 1, they heavily favoured SmackDown. They gave SmackDown easily the better draw, so they should have tried to, put things back in Raw's favour tonight, but they didn't want to commit to Brock Lesnar being on a show, because I guess, unlike Roman Reigns, he is the real star, and they want him available for both brands. Now, you might think that's okay. You might think Brock Lesnar, big deal, big star. It makes sense that he can negotiate some sort of free agent thing. And I would agree. I would agree with that. However, WWE has created a bunch of free agents during this draft. People like Omos, people like Dolph Ziggler, Mustafa Ali, Shelton Benjamin, Cedric Alexander, I believe Tamina is another one. And the whole point, well, maybe not Tamina, she went to SmackDown, but there's definitely somebody else. And the reasoning behind this was that these were supposed to be people that were not picked. So they weren't picked by Raw, they weren't picked by SmackDown, so they're free agents. And they're trying to almost, it's weird because they're trying to put these people down, they're trying to suggest that these people weren't good enough to get picked, but then they're talking about how it's a good thing because anyone who's a free agent will have the possibility and the options to go to whatever show they want, which is true. But it's like, Brock Lesnar is supposed to get that because he's Brock Lesnar. Why are these guys getting that? And yeah, I get it, they weren't picked. So why are they getting a privilege? Basically, these free agents have been given an advantage here by not getting picked. Now they have the ability to turn up on Raw, turn up on SmackDown whenever they want. It just makes no sense. If you didn't get picked, if you weren't picked in the draft, then you should be at a disadvantage. You should be sent to NXT. That's how I would have done it. That would have made sense. But no, Brock Lesnar is supposed to be the big deal. He's the guy with the free agent status. And then they also go and give free agent status to a bunch of bums. So it's like, Brock Lesnar then isn't that special, is he? No, the whole thing, guys, absolutely sucked. On Raw, I mean, there was no big drafts. They picked Rhea Ripley first, of course, even though you would not pick Rhea Ripley first, but I guess because they picked Roman Reigns first, we got to have equality, we got to put Rhea Ripley, and I know that's the reason they done it, because they drafted the Judgment Day to Raw, and they could have just put Rhea Ripley in the Judgment Day, or they could have just put Rhea Ripley in the Judgment Day and drafted the Judgment Day first, and therefore Rhea Ripley still first. But no, they wanted to draft a woman first because they drafted a man on SmackDown. That's how WWE works, man. That is what we get now. It's 50-50. It's, men get a main event, women get I'm glad they didn't get this year's main event, but that's how it goes. That's what they were thinking. All these women getting drafted high up. No fucking way would they. Remember back in the original draft, McMahon actually laughed at Ric Flair for picking Lita 10th, and now we're supposed to believe that all these women are being picked first? I mean, come on. It's retarded. It is fucking retarded. But let's talk about the people then that were drafted after Raw went off the air. So I believe there was about 13 picks in total, including some NXT picks that we'll talk about. We'll just go in order from alphabetical here. Akira Tozawa, he was on Raw and he got drafted to Raw. So he stays on Raw basically, no change. As is for Dana Brooke, the same. I mean, Dana Brooke, I don't even want to see Dana Brooke demoted to NXT. I just want to see, never mind a free agent, how about a release, a free release, because Dana Brooke sucks, man. Dana Brooke isn't very good. We've got Emma moving from SmackDown to Raw. Who cares, honestly? She didn't do anything on SmackDown. She's not going to do anything on Raw. Just another, wasteful return here that Triple H brought back just because, Emma used to be on NXT, so I'm going to bring her back because Vince got rid of her or she left. or whatever. But speaking of somebody who does not suck, Grayson Waller gets drafted from NXT to SmackDown. And I seen people say last week, a couple weeks ago, that Grayson Waller's not good enough to be the NXT champion. Are you shitting me? In my opinion, this guy was too good for NXT, and it's no surprise to me that he got called up. I think he should be given a mid-card title run, and who knows, maybe when Austin Theory drops the belt, he can get an opportunity at it. But for me, this is definitely a future world champion, and more importantly, I think this guy can main event WrestleMania one day. He stands out for the rest. Even when he got picked, even when he got drafted, everyone else is, celebrating and congratulating themselves and hugging. This guy basically stepped up, cut a promo on everybody, says that none of you guys helped me get here. I helped me get here, and saying that he's not surprised because he knew this day would come. And he cut a really good promo after being picked, and no one else done that. So for me, Grayson Waller, I like the guy. I'm going to miss him on NXT. It's going to make watching NXT a bit less enjoyable. But for me, Grayson Waller can do big, big things on SmackDown. Another pick was Indus Sher from NXT to Raw. I mean, I'm pretty sure Jinder Mahal was on Raw. Veer Mahan was on Raw before he disappeared to NXT. And now Sagner's on Raw. So basically, free Indian guy. Look, this Indus Sher are fucking shit, right? That's all you need to say. They are shit. Not because they're Indian, but because they're shit. Look, Jinder Mahal had his little run as world champion or WWE champion and whatever. You know what? Good for him. Good for him. But that was a long time ago, right? That was it was something weird where it almost worked, even though the thought of it was fucking retarded. I mean, it almost worked, and I can let it go. It doesn't bother me that he was champ, but this stable's going nowhere. Jinder Mahal will never be a champ again. Sagner's not going to be a champ. And Veer Mahan, last time he was coming to Raw, spent about a year getting there. And when he got there, nobody wanted him. Honestly, these guys should be released. They are going to do nothing on Monday Night Raw. Johnny Gargano stays on Raw. Another reason not to watch Raw. Los Lavarios move from SmackDown to Raw. I mean, again, are we supposed to be excited about this? Does this get me wanting to tune in to watch Raw? Certainly not. Nikki Cross went from Raw to Raw, so she stays on Raw. Odyssey Jones, a guy that is fucking not ready at all, moves to Raw. So it's kind of interesting what they've done here with NXT picks, because I'm pretty sure they didn't just pick all their top people, they didn't just move all the top people, because Odyssey Jones is not a top person. So maybe they just wanted, I don't know, a bigger guy, just a big body on Raw. I personally, I don't get it. And again, maybe it's like they don't want to decimate the NXT roster, so they can't move all their top guys, but I just didn't see this pick coming. Odyssey Jones to Raw, Indus Sher to... I mean, look at the NXT picks alone. Raw get 4 people, but all 4 suck. SmackDown got Grayson Waller, and he's great. SmackDown has just dominated Raw in this draft. Honest to God, it's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Piper Niven stayed on Raw to Raw. I mean, she's going to eat all the fucking hamburgers at Raw. Then she'll probably get traded to SmackDown so she can eat all the cheeseburgers there. Riddick Moss went from SmackDown to Raw. Tamina went from Raw to SmackDown. Maybe possible bloodline now. Who knows? Tegan Nox went from SmackDown to Raw. Wow, I can't wait to watch Tegan Nox on Raw. And Shia Lee went from SmackDown to Raw. So that is the list, guys. I mean, honestly, look at everybody that went to Raw here. There's not one person that went to Raw and you're thinking this is going to be entertaining. The only pick here that I give a shit about is Grayson Waller. And SmackDown got it. I don't know. I mean, I think Grayson Waller is such a good talker, as is LA Knight. I would have probably separated them. I would have put Grayson Waller on Raw. Plus, Raw being a 3-hour show, I just think there's more of a chance that Grayson Waller can get time on Raw and actually do something. I mean, SmackDown, sometimes you get lost in the shuffle, and I know there's less people on SmackDown, and hopefully that's what they're going for here. I know they've made the Raw roster quite a bit bigger, and it needs to be because it's got an extra hour, but I mean, they made it bigger, but they certainly didn't make it better. Raw's got quantity here, SmackDown's got quality, 100%. And honestly, with how bad this Raw roster is, I think these 3 hours are going to drag. Because, yeah, we might get a couple of good things, but the rest of the remaining 3 hours, man, made up of this roster, I'm not looking forward to it. And as for the free agents, guys, This was, I believe, there's some here from obviously Raw, and then there's some from SmackDown. So Baron Corbin was on Raw. He's a free agent now. Brock Lesnar, obviously, we talked about him earlier, so he stays a free agent. Benjamin and Cedric, free agent. Ziggler, Elias, Mustafa Ali, almost with MVP, free agent. Von Wagner, free agent. And Xion Quinn, free agent. So, no, I don't get. If Von Wagner and Quinn were on NXT and didn't get drafted up, shouldn't they just remain on NXT? Why they got this free agent tag? Because we didn't know who the select superstars were. So, like, technically, if these guys are being given the free agent trademark, the free agent tag, then why wasn't everybody in NXT that wasn't picked given the free agent tag? This just makes zero fucking sense. And another two people that just don't deserve to be called up. These NXT call-ups were very, very strange. Look, I'm happy to see Grayson Waller come up, and I think Pretty Deadly deserve it also, but the rest of them, no. The rest of them I think were really, really poor. I can't explain it, guys. Maybe they just, I don't know, maybe they just wanted to, I don't know. I honestly do not know. Maybe they just wanted to call up some, people as jobbers or try and give them a push on the main roster. I don't know what they want to do, guys, but it's very strange, in my opinion, that the likes of Von Wagner's been called up, Quinn's been called up. People will say Braun Breaker's not ready, but then they call up people like this. It's a strange one, guys. It's very strange. Anyway, that is it. For me, Night 2, who won it? Honestly, I kind of feel like SmackDown won it again. I do actually feel like SmackDown won it again. Raw got Rhea Ripley at the Judgment Day. Seth, do we care? No, we fucking don't. For me, just for the Grayson Waller pick alone, and for the fact they got Pretty Deadly, I would honestly give the win to SmackDown. SmackDown got all the good NXT picks. It's actually insane. So yeah, that's it, guys. I'll catch you in the next one. Till then, peace.